Welcome back to our YouTube tutorial. From the previous video, we have seen how to use documentation from Flutter website. And today we are going to also remake the video so that you can understand what we have done from the previous video. In this video, I'm going to go in depth, show you how you can build this form here now without using the documentation. So now you have read the documentation, you know how to use a widget and how you nest them so that you can come up with this UI. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to comment this code. I'm going to remake it from scratch and explain what we have done so far from the previous video. So what we have done, we have created a class called Slack clone, and I'm going to create it again. And as always, we are going to extend start trace widget. So this start trace widget is going to ask us to override a method, and I think this is something familiar as for now. So now it's going to have a return type of widget, and it's going to take the build class, and it's going to be context. So now we are going to return a material app. So as always, you know that we have two types of application. We have material app and we have Cupertino app. So I decided to use material app because I like Google material specification. So, but you can use the Cupertino styles if you want. So from the previous video, you have seen that if you want to show this form, we need to make sure that we use a scaffold widget on top of every widget. So the scaffold is going to be the parent widget of all widgets we have. So we're going to have scaffold, and a scaffold take body. So this is the key point here. Scaffold doesn't take a child, it takes the body. Why does it take a body, not a child? Well, it is expected that application is going to have one body, and everything else is going to be the child of that body. So we have seen that we can use container to have inside that body as a body, and we can pass a child with that within that container, and that container can be a column, for example, or let me put a form because we want this to be a form. As you see that we have input and we have a submit button, so this is going to be a form. So a form really takes two properties. One property it takes is called a key. What does a key do? In order for our form to react on user input, such as validating the form, we need to have this key here. So this is why we are going to define the final variable here, which is going to be the local variable as a key, and this is going to be equal to global key, and this global key is going to be of type form state, so that we can get the state of the form. So once we have that key, now we can call it here as a local variable here. Then we can pass a chart. This chart can be a list of form text field here, and we remember that we can use a column to have more than one widget within a column. So we can use column here, and remember that a column take children, and children is going to be one of the children we are going to pass is going to be text form field. So this text form field is the one that is going to show this input here. So, but so I'm going to put return here so that we can solve this problem. Let me see. Okay, no, there's no return here. Let me see whether I have made a mistake. Let me see. So we are okay. Let me see if Um, okay, extend statless widget. Statless. Okay, I think there's a problem of here statless. How I wrote the statless widget. So now the error is gone. So now the text form field is going to take another property, and one of the property it can take is called decoration. So because we need to decorate this form so that it can look like this one, and one of decoration we can use is called input. Let me cheat a little bit. It's called input decoration, and this input decoration take different properties. So one property is called border. So how do you want border to look like? So I think let me comment this code first and try to run so that I can show you the result. So if I run this, it's going to give us uh, a form that doesn't have anything around it. So you can see that we have a form here, but it is not visible. So a user cannot see the form. So we need to make sure that it has the border that is more visible so that a user can see that it is a form. So this is why we are going to use this decoration here. So if I put this decoration, then I know I want to decorate the input decoration. So I want to change the border so that it is visible. So one of the border I can use is called outline input border. Let me copy it. Then I'm going to pass it here, and I'm going to make it to be a constant. So if I run the application again, you are going to see that this input is going to change a little bit and with some border. So now the problem you have here is that this input is not visible because it is starting at the top of our application. So maybe we want this input to be at the center of the screen, or at least at where we can see it full. Then what I'm going to do, as you know, in Flutter, we nest everything under the widget that is going to solve that issue for us. So there is two widgets I can think right now that can help me to achieve that. Right now, I can use the container, or I can use the padding, or I can also use the center widget. So, but let me use the first option. I know that the container can take the margin. So I can say margin. Then because I don't remember how to use this margin property of a container, I can Google that and get it from the Flutter documentation. So let me use container margin, then write Flutter. Then if I go to this class here, it's going to give me a little more information about, okay, let me go to another documentation. So let me see. Let me go to container and let me find a margin. So margin property is the one I'm looking here. So that you can see the margin here, take the edge insert all as the container as the padding. So if I copy this code here and come here to margin and paste it here and put the comma, this is going to make sure that at this container, it's going to leave the space of 10 pixels on every edge of the widget. If we run the application again, now we're going to see the widget much more visible with the space of 10 pixels on the top. So let's make it to 100 pixels. This is going to leave the 100 pixels on every edge of the widget. So if you run it again, we are going to see the widget showing now without leaving that 100 pixels at every edge of the screen. So what did we do now? By applying the margin here, we are solving the problem of where the widget was not showing because it was starting at the top. So we want to make sure that it is visible and put it where we can see it. We can see the widget is now much more visible. So let me try to comment this decoration so you see what we have done, what this decoration has helped us to achieve. Is if we run it again, we are going to see that our form is not going to have the border decorated. So it's taking much more time to compile. So you have to wait for that. So let me wait. So I have to run it again. I think this is a bug of that part where like you need to compile twice in order to see the result. So if it happened on your end, please make sure that it is common. So you can see that our form is not has no border at all. But if you apply this decoration, which is going to allow us to have input decoration with the border of outline input border, is now going to have the border that we want. Now we can see that our form is much more visible. Now, if I remove this margin on the container, remember that the container, this is the second property we have seen. We can apply the margin on a container. So if we run it again, now it will start at the top because we have no margin around it. But if we apply the margin, now it's going to apply that margin. But of course, as I said, there is different way you can achieve that behavior that we have applied using the margin inside the container. Another way you can do it is just to see where the container is is closing. So you can see that the container is closing here. You can come and cut this code and use maybe center widget. Remember that center widget also take a child and paste the container as a child. And we know that this center widget is going to take whatever widget you give and place that widget at the center of the screen. So if we run the application again, we are going to have the same result, but at the center of the screen. Let's run it again. Okay, it's not working. It's not putting it at the center of the screen. Okay, let's use padding. This is another way you can do it. And we need to pass the padding here. And we can use the same properties as a margin, as a padding here. And let's put the camera there and run it again. This should do the job. You can see that we have the same result, either using the padding or using the container and give it a margin we want this container to have. Those are three ways, but the center didn't work, but I know it can work in some cases. Maybe there is a reason why it didn't work, but that is something we can check in another videos. So now we have our button and we know that our column take more than one children, which means that at bottom of this text form field, we can put a button so that the user can click on that button and be able to give us information. Maybe it is a submit button. From the previous video, you have seen that we have a elevated button. There's different type of button you can call within Flutter. It's up to you to read about them and see how you can do it. So this elevated button take a child. And this child is going to be the any child we want. I know that maybe should be a string where a user can see what is an action he's supposed to do. We can see that the Flutter is complaining to have the property code on pressed property. So we need to pass it on pressed, and this is going to be the function. Leave it as an empty like this. Now you can see that the error is gone. So if you run the app again, at the bottom, you are going to see the elevated button showing with the submit key text. So now the problem we have here, you can see that this form text field is tied with this button. Maybe it can be nice if we leave the space between this text input field and with this button. So we can do that by using, there's different way you can do that. I'm going to show you 3 ways you can do that. You can either use a container, and a container pass a child, and the child is going to be um, uh, pass a height, and pass a height of 10, because you want to leave a space between this text field and this button. So you want to make sure that you put a container with a height of 10, and this is going to be to do the job for us. If we run the application now, we are going to see the space between this these two widgets. That is one way you can do that. Another way is to use divider, and a divider take also height, and you can also use height of 10. And this is another way you can use, you can leave space between a widget. So you have seen that I made the mistake here where I have put the semicolon. It should not be the semicolon. Instead, it should be comma. And that is a mistake that I've seen newbies make when they start learning Flutter. They they sometimes forget to put the the comma. Instead they put the semicolon, which is not acceptable within the column children. If we run it again, we are going to have the same result. But how about if you want this button to be a little bit bigger than what we have here? What do you think we can do? Okay, we can take this elevated button, cut it, and use a container. And within a container, you can have a width of 400, for example, and now pass a child, and the child is going to be that button that we had. Now, this container is going to have the width of 400, and is going to have the normal child widget, which is going to be our elevated button with the text of submit. This is going to give us the button we want with the width that we want. You can see that we have the width that we want with the 400 pixels. Now we understand how we can create a form, how we can create a button, how we can control the width of that button, and of course how to use the children of a column, how to pass more than one children within a column, and how to use a form, and how to pass the key with a form. A form key will be so useful in other videos where we can control the state of a form, validation, and other cool stuff that we'll be seeing in next coming videos. Please, if this is the first time you have seen our video from yegobox, please subscribe to our channel. This is the first in its kind of technology channel where we share knowledge, skills that you can learn and get a job at your dream company. And we believe this is the mission that we share. And if you can share to your friend, you help us to achieve our mission, which is to share the skills that we have. Thank you for watching our video. Please share, subscribe to our channel, and like the video because it helps a lot to beat the YouTube algorithm. Actually, when you like our video, YouTube that recommend our video to other fellows so that we can learn together as a community. And also don't forget to check in the description to join our WhatsApp group where we can help you, give you the support you want so that you can learn and become and be better programmer, Flutter programmer. Thank you for watching. See you in next video.